I'll tell you, my background is not as a researcher, which might surprise you since this is one of the things that we're going to talk about, but as a commercial executive. I spent 24 years at Procter & Gamble in a variety of roles, brand, shopper, and then finally as a sales leader. And I had even a brief stint inside of Sam's Club as an executive on loan. And what I saw firsthand was the friction that exists in many cases between these groups of experts who rarely see the world from the same perspective. And one of the tiebreakers in my experience was the shopper. And yet there was very little shopper science that was ever brought to the table consistently to help guide the decisions that had to be made in consensus across those stakeholders. So that's the gap in the market that we have sought to fill. So the company started about 10 years ago. My partner, who's up in Canada, saw this gap in the market and began working to build shopper research solutions to answer key commercial business questions. Will my package deliver maximum impact at point of sale? Do I have claims that overcome the biggest barrier to purchase and break the tie between me and the items that are next to me on the shelf? And so then I met him. We felt like this was a North America need at a minimum. We snowballed into more of our former colleagues that were in Europe and in both Western and Eastern Europe, and we started realizing through client consultations that there was just a complete misuse of research tools applied to shopper challenges. They assumed that shoppers had this enormous focus and kind of intellectual review of their brands, when in truth, most shopping's done on autopilot. So we created some tools that would help simulate that subconscious choice that happens in real shopping behavior and happens differently in different retail outlets. And we've brought that to the market, and it's been just a tremendous success with both branded clients and retailers who, prefer to see their shopper and their shopper's perspective reflected in the research to make decisions. Yeah, so what's funny is we hear the stat all the time about 70% of initiatives fail to reach their trial objectives. There's all kinds of effort that's out in the marketplace among marketing practitioners to get purchase intent, top two box purchase intent on their brand or on a concept. And yet the truth is, even if someone has an intent to purchase, given they're shopping on autopilot, given there are competitors who already have established a habit with them, often they fail to identify the real pockets of choice. And so that's a big part of what we want to make sure that people internalize is you can't have any kind of repeat unless you nail the trial, and you can't get trial without winning over the shopper. Well, we have seen a widening in the gap between the perception and the reality. So a lot of our clients, they know all of the things that they're doing and the intent behind those. And what they don't necessarily have nailed is the understanding of the perceptions that they have to overcome, the habits that they have to overcome with shoppers. And so that's a big piece of the gap that we're trying to close. So for the majority of the work that we do, it's highly surgical, and it's designed to supplement traditional vehicles. We do a lot of research that actually adds our supplement to a traditional research approach. But the methodology difference that we see is that majority of shopper research that's done, if any is done in a beauty contest way. So it's, here's 4 different packages. Which one do you like the most? everything we do is in competitive context. So we're always respecting the fact that the shopper actually has a choice in who they buy. And so each different option needs to be evaluated in a monadic approach against that choice of competition. So our average project timeline and engagement with a client is typically 8 weeks, and we tend to work in sort of a series of 8-week sprints with clients, even those who were retained to support over a long period of time. Because we know that winning at retail is all about speed, speed either in decision making for the retailer themselves, all of whom have different timetables and different needs. And then, time is money in terms of getting things right. So we've been very focused on limiting our, research base size where needed, or expanding our research base size where it can provide tremendous utility across multiple retailers and or multiple categories for efficiency and speed for our clients. So everything that we do typically starts with an audit. We do a shopper audit. So we will evaluate the brand in all of the different retail contexts that are of priority interest and provide those insights back to the clients before a dime has been spent beyond our time for the audit, which is extremely affordable. We've found that tends to identify already the flat spots in a commercial plan that need further understanding and exploration, and then in that context, we always try to engineer to the minimum that's required relative to the risk of the decision. So, we don't have a one size fits all. Everything that we do is custom, and it's designed really from what is your business challenge and how do we overcome that challenge through shopper insights back, instead of sort of here's the off the shelf product that we're pushing you. So it's interesting that you say that, because we actually talk about the paradox of choice. There's more retail points of distribution than ever before. There's more retail options. We have infinite options on our phone to do some good shopping. And so, for us, what you really need to help the brand team understand to make sure that your brand gets in the conversation sooner versus later is they've got to deselect the things that aren't relevant before they can even select the things that are relevant. So we work really hard on how the natural decision tree works for shoppers, and to bring that path to purchase to light to our clients and ensure that they're investing disproportionately in the places where they have a natural habit that they can connect to, because that's the easiest way to get into a shopper regimen or routine, is to connect to an existing habit. Well, the shopper, this is an interesting dichotomy that I think all of our clients have to work through. The first thing is that the shopper of today brain as a human is wired very similar to the cavemen of old. A lot of what we do in our shopping behavior connects and is rooted into the way we're wired to survive. And so we have a lot of principles of shopper psychology that we translate into modern retail. When I look further out, I will tell you that I see no end in sight in terms of the choice. The power dynamic has shifted greatly to the shopper's ability to first select where they want to purchase any category that they might be interested in, where they would be going to research, even finding the needs for their symptoms or their challenges that they want to have a product or service solve. And then once they get to those locations, the abundance of choice between competitive alternatives and how they parse through that. And the thing that to understand is the shopper's in charge. And so it's really important to meet them where they are with the minimal amount of information needed to overcome any barriers that they might have to trusting your brand as the solution. I've mentioned both these things previously. The first one is, I think, the gap between perception and reality is widening. I think this is especially true as inflation and COVID have disproportionately changed shopping habits, and many of our brands and retailers have not fully realized that they're not perceived in any way aligned with the actions that they're taking or the intent. And there's a lot of great examples of this that we could go into, and we often do as we talk to clients about this in our training that really helps this notion be internalized. And so that's the first one that I would say I'd ask folks, just don't make assumptions about what the shopper believes about you. Go get the answers, ask them in whatever manner you want to do that. And the second one is, I don't think that brands and retailers appreciate how irrelevant they are to the shopper's broader life. So they're not looking for a way to connect in and gain relevance in this notion that shoppers are always deselecting before they select. So you have to get into the conversation and make a connection where the shopper's mindset starts, where their purchase journey or trip mission starts. And that's way before usually your brand or even category comes into play. We use technology in a variety of ways. We've got some internal proprietary tools. We've got some external partnerships, especially with some emerging concepts like twinning of a research panelist. There's folks that are doing media scrapes to actually see what videos are resonating most and getting the most clicks and driving perception and opinion of brands. There's all kinds of really cool technology that allows you to conduct research in a way that's much more fly on the wall observatory versus respondent oriented. It's fast. It's accurate. And so we're leveraging all of those tools on behalf of our client as often as we can, because we believe in speed and affordability as a value proposition. And that's one of the things that has been enabling us to deliver really fast response, accurate answers to questions through research that actually pulls from a lot of organic sources. We have seen in all of our research that the current inflation and most recently meat, eggs, and some other things that have made the press quite resoundingly have shifted the shopper's mindset even more so toward affordability to preemptive shopping and stocking up. Interesting. We almost call it like shopper futures on certain categories based on with the trade wars that have been going on. We've been seeing people actually disproportionately interested in purchasing new cars that are from foreign makers. So any trends that relate to the economic conditions going on in the US today are causing people, the shopper, to reconsider all of their pricing and value pyramids. And so we're pushing for all of our clients to actually re-engage and refresh any pricing sensitivity models that they have to make sure that they're updated to within the last 12 months or more recent even than that. And that they actually do ask their shoppers to rate and rank order the things that are the benefits, attributes, features that are most contributing to a value equation. Two things that we're seeing retailers do that are winning One is they are investing in their own research. They're no longer just trusting research that comes from suppliers. They're also demanding that the suppliers provide research that is broken out with their shopper in mind. And so that's something that is a very simple thing that any client can put into any research. Just ask their panelists where they shop most often. Makes a big difference, and it is something that we're seeing winning retailers demand. The second one is just a multi-tiered private label, and frankly, using research to identify the claim that will win on the private label product before they lock on the formula card. So we're seeing a lot of shift in spending more upstream at retailers to take control of the formula card versus even, and then RFP it to multiple private label suppliers versus just trusting a knockoff of a national brand. I think a lot of retailers are going to have embedded observational research tools in all of their online shopping. And especially now that many of us are using our phone even as a mobile checkout device, and some of the leading edge retailers, there's an ability for them to track and trace time and attention and aisle shopping patterns. And I think there's going to be a lot more of that mobilized through machine learning and AI tools that are going to bring all that mass data into a usable format for decision makers at both the merchandising desk and the operations desk. Everything that's going on in retail. My experience with most brand leaders is that they defer to their salespeople to be experts in retail. And I think that that is a 20-year-old mindset, and the modern brand mindset should be, it is my responsibility to be a student and an informed shopper, empathetic to the shopper in every one of my priority retailers. We've been evolving much more in a retail back way. That is, we're learning more about the differences between channel shoppers and their mindsets at macro and at a category specific level, because that is bringing us much tighter into where the point of relevancy will be for any of our brands relative to which channels they're challenged in. For some of our brands, that is, we're launching for the first time offline, online into offline and retail across all channels. And for many of our clients, we've been in retail in all channels for a long, long time, and we're struggling in 2 or 3 channels. And those challenges are very channel specific. So we've adapted a lot of our approaches to be much more aligned with the variances by channel. Just always be learning. The changes in retail, whether it's new technologies in terms of how to shop, different promotional or retail buying options that are being used, price matching tools that the shoppers are using to put themselves in charge, kind of pan retail way before you'd ever look at a retailer's ad. I would become a student of all of those tools and techniques and better understand where your target shopper is getting their information, where they're choosing to shop, and what are the brands that are entering the conversation before you get to the point of sale. I think that applied shopper science as a discipline for brands and retailers will be as commonplace in 2040 as category management is today. Feel free to reach out to me, julie.walker@shopper1st.com. Look forward to chatting with you about what your challenge is and seeing if there's any way we might be able to help.